Hello, I'm Charles A. Freston, resident butler here at Samlesbury Hall, and I've been here since 1871. Today, we're going to look at the most amazing families that lived here. Our story really starts way back in the year 1322, when Gilbert de Southworth built Samlesbury Hall. He was horrified one day to find Robert the Bruce and the Scottish hordes burnt his beloved building down. He rebuilt the building, and for a while this building became a safe haven for Catholic priests. The building then went on to become a Georgian coaching inn, and then at the height of the Industrial Revolution it became a handloom weaver's factory. Later it had a very happy period of time where it became a school for Victorian young ladies. It's an amazing story of love, war and romance. Let's now make our way inside this outstanding Grade 1 listed building and hear the whole story of the families that lived here. This is the Great Hall, the oldest part of the building. The most famous and notorious family that lived here were the Southworths, and this was their main living and dining room areas. The grand fire we see here would have once been a mini bonfire in the centre of the room. The smoke from the fire would have escaped through a hole in the middle of the roof up there. The Southworths were described as rich and powerful local bullies who owned huge tracts of land from Cumbria in the north to Warrington in the south. But they were king's men, and they produced archers for the Battle of Agincourt for King Henry V, and later foot soldiers for King Henry VIII at the Battle of Flodden Field in 1513. The Southworths were devout Catholics, and when King Henry defied the Pope, divorced Queen Catherine and then beheaded Anne Boleyn, the writing was on the wall for Catholics who refused to follow the Anglican religion. Here, one of the finest family chapels of Lancashire would have been replaced by secret sermons held in an atmosphere of fear and persecution. One captured priest was brutally murdered, his head severed from his body in the tiny priest room upstairs. During the final years of the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, the hall was searched more than once for Catholic chattels and artefacts. The family were fined, persecuted, exiled, and a Southworth daughter was sent to Lancaster at the time of the Pendlewich trials of 1612. Priests who hid here were brutally murdered and tortured. One such priest who refused to hide was the martyr St. John Southworth. He was tried at the Old Bailey under Elizabethan anti-priest laws and then later hanged at Tyburn. In 1678, in the reign of King Charles II, the family were financially ruined by successive kings and queens, and the building fell into the hands of itinerant lodgers and tenant farmers, and the splendour of the past became 17th century squalor, and this great building fell into wrack and ruin. The glory days of the hall were over, but the building became more lively than ever as fly-by-night tenants turned the hall into a multitude of new purposes, one of them being a Georgian coaching inn. Here in the parlour, Henry Baines of the Bradle Arms would have entertained his many guests with a warm meal, a hearty fire, and outside you'd hear the sound of whinnying horses and carriages clattering down the new road built hard by the hall. The reign of Victoria and the Industrial Revolution brought even more rapid change. In the 1870s, the hall became a Victorian boarding school run by Mrs. Mary Harrison from Leeds in West Yorkshire. The school business didn't last, and within 10 years, lodgers again populated the hall. Farmers and weavers lived and worked here. Lancashire, the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, was transformed as factories were built. Workers moved from the countryside into towns like Blackburn and Preston, already bursting at the seams. Manufacturing of cotton, coal and iron created a new breed of wealthy entrepreneur and philanthropists who built more than factories, town halls, theatres and museums, as well as terraced housing. The Victorian residents of Samlesbury Hall included Joseph Harrison and his son William, both made rich from iron and cotton. They spent fortunes refurbishing the almost ruined building. Alas, it wasn't going to last. William Harrison proved financially insolvent and sadly committed suicide here. The last recorded family living here were Frederick Baines, a large family, and his many servants. They moved here in 1901. 1901, Queen Victoria is dead. Long live King Edward VII. This new era, this new century heralded disaster for Samlesbury Hall. Empty, derelict and a total ruin after the aftermath of World War I. The lands were sold off piecemeal and Samlesbury Hall was earmarked for demolition. Amazingly, with little time to spare, local businessmen, men who had become wealthy through the Lancashire cotton industry, got together to put forward a rescue package to save the hall. In the year 1924, the Samlesbury Hall Preservation Society were formed. The money raised and the building saved and secured for the future. This is the priest's room, once the scene of a dastardly murder of a priest. A second room next door was the spot where William Harrison, failed cotton baron, committed suicide in 1879. Through this window, the most famous act of brutality took place in Stuart times. Lady Dorothea Southworth fell in love with a local boy who was a Protestant. Her father refused her permission to marry into the Protestant faith. On a cold winter's night, her lover was murdered right in front of her. She died of a broken heart. Her ghost has often been seen crossing the road, entering the grounds of Samlesbury and making her way through to the main hall. Today the hall is classed as one of the most haunted houses in Great Britain. TV programmes like Most Haunted and professional ghost hunters have flocked here from all over the world to learn about the mythical supernatural stories and events that have taken place here at Samlesbury Hall. The hall is a vibrant public building, welcoming over 50,000 visitors a year, all eager to learn about the people that lived here and the hall's fascinating history. People like me regularly come back from the past to act as living history tour guides. Whether we're bringing history to life, hosting weddings, art exhibitions, farmers markets, craft fairs, or continuing to serve in our shop and restaurants, we can guarantee you'll have a scream of a time at Samlesbury Hall. Enjoy your visit.